Blah, blah, blah. Gaddafi did more for Africa, heard that one. But nobody's been able to demonstrate what exactly he has done. The most important thing in the renaissance of any people is a cultural restoration. So there can never be an African renaissance without African cultural restoration. No people on earth has ever been able to rise to power without the deification of their own culture. When the Arabs launched the Umayyad conquest in the 7th century, they used the deification of their own culture through Islam. When the Europeans took over, they did that through the deification of Greeks and Romans. I made this specific argument against the idea that Gaddafi was trying to free Africa because in Gaddafi's Libya, African indigenous cultural expression was suppressed. As an Islamic state, it was naturally at war with indigenous African spiritual systems. And so the indigenous Libyans, the Tebu people who decided to be steadfast in their own cultural expression, were marginalized in Gaddafi's Libya. As all indigenous Africans are marginalized throughout the entire North Africa. In response to that, this brother says he's not talking about culture, proving to me that he doesn't understand the subject. Because, quite frankly, a central bank and some currency is supposed to free Africa. When these Arab-controlled states use the same currency but has failed to unite them, so the prototype has failed. And then we have the satellite argument, how Gaddafi saved Africa with the satellite. But the crazy part is that this company that set up this satellite, in terms of ownership, it is not owned by any African state except for Libya. And we have Thales Alenia Space that owns 12%, which is actually a Franco-Italian company, a European company, yet all the African Union states own nothing. Last argument, Gaddafi in his green book said wonderful things about black people, how they'll rule the world and prevail at all levels. In the same page, Gaddafi explains why the black population is expanding is because we avoid work because of the heat, so we make babies all day. Therefore, understanding this historical background, we understand that the Arabs who were here before the Europeans, the same Arabs who had failed to conquer the entire Africa, are now jealous of the Europeans who control the entire continent. And so they want to use Africans, indigenous Africans, as mercenaries to get rid of the declining European power and topple down European imperialism so that the entire continent can look like North Africa today. Peace and black power. Pan Afrikanism is the future.